Restrictions, closures, and evacuations. Hurricane Irma is starting to affect events, businesses, and institutions here in Florida. Good evening. I'm Carolina Lead.
And I'm Mark Rivera in for Katie McCall. The storm is still several days away from hitting the state, but Bobby, we're getting some new data in. What is it showing us right now?
Maintaining the most powerful hurricane recorded in the Atlantic Ocean right now at 185 mile per hour winds. There haven't been any big changes as far as that's concerned, but if you take a look over here, we're basically looking at a strong storm moving off towards the west-northwest. Finally, a little bit of a northerly track, and that's good news, especially if it's trying to dodge the islands. I don't think it's going to miss St. Martin and Anguilla. It's going to be very, very close to it. That eye, 29 miles wide in diameter, winds 185 miles per hour, sustained winds. Gusts are up to 225 miles per hour. That's category EF4 and EF5 winds on a tornado category. It's still 1,500 miles from us. We've got a lot of time to watch this, and a lot can change, but we certainly have to keep a very, very close eye on it. 50 miles now east-northeast of Antigua and moving off to the west-northwest. Here's the latest track just now from the Hurricane Center, and here's what we're watching. Saturday night, 145 mile per hour winds. Some models say the center would be very close to overland. In fact, some keep it overland for a while, which would weaken it. And then watch this. By Sunday night, 140 mile per hour winds after crossing the Keys, headed towards potentially a landfall in South Florida, maybe near Marco Island, by Monday morning, early Monday morning. If this happens, guys, this thing's going to come straight up the state, right along the spine of the state. We could get hurricane force winds for everybody in the peninsula. We still don't know if that's going to happen. We've got room to go out here. We even have some models that are turning in here. I'll show you those models, and I'll let you know what we're thinking here coming up in my full forecast.
Governor Rick Scott wants Floridians to take this storm seriously and prepare. He's already declared a state of emergency. Then, late today, he suspended all tolls on the state's highways. These steps are meant to help you get a head start and make it easier for the state to coordinate outside help.
We are preparing for Irma to directly impact our state, and while it's still too early to tell exactly where the storm will hit, it is incredibly important that all Floridians keep a close eye on this incredibly dangerous storm. Do not sit and wait to prepare. Get prepared now.
The governor also talked about some of the preparations the state is making. All 7,000 Florida National Guard members will report for duty on Friday. The American Red Cross is staging teams in Orlando. They're ready to deploy to areas of need. A mandatory evacuation is in place for Monroe County. That includes Key West. And Hernando County schools join a host of other districts, mainly on the East Coast, that are shutting down Thursday and Friday. Other districts in our area are expected to announce their decisions tomorrow.
Tonight, Bobby and I spoke to a couple on Facebook Live who is riding out this massive hurricane in St. Thomas with their 2 young children. They're from right here in the Tampa Bay area. Now they travel the world with their 4-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son, and they're scared.
Throughout the day today, everyone was doing a lot of preparation, like getting sandbags filled up down at the beach, putting plywood up over the restaurant windows.
I feel like we've done what we can, and now we just have to ride it out. So we're feeling pretty confident, although I'd be lying if I said I'm not still pretty scared. I mean, especially with kids.
Your mom.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
All right, so I'll follow up with them after the storm passes and let you know how they're doing.
If you're making preparations, now is the time to check with your insurance company. What is your coverage? What kind of prep do you need to do to make a claim just in case? Here are 3 big things that you can do tonight or tomorrow morning. First, the Better Business Bureau recommends you maintain an inventory of your possessions. The best idea would be to walk through your home as you are talking about what you see. Okay, TV, lamp, things like that. Take pictures of the serial and model numbers of the technology you have as well. Keep receipts for any of the big items too. Secondly, put all of that documentation in a safe place outside of a home. Get a waterproof box. Take those important papers with you. Birth certificate, passport, and that includes your insurance policies too. Finally, figure out the deadline for filing claims. The last thing you need is a long-term problem after a storm and no idea when you have to get the right info to your insurance company.
You've been sending us pictures and videos from across the Bay Area of bare store shelves, businesses already running low on batteries and water. Major retailers tell us they're working overtime to get emergency items shipped to Florida. ahead of the storm. Nighttime reporter Bo Zimmer is live tonight at a South Tampa Walmart. So, Bo, when will the trucks with those much-needed supplies start arriving?
Well, good evening, Carolina. Yeah, we're going to start seeing some of those trucks arriving overnight with fresh shipments, trying to restock some of these shelves as companies like Walmart throw their logistics teams into overdrive, trying to keep all of us here in Florida stocked up and safe. Publix, Walmart, Home Depot. They're the stores we rely on. They're 7 days a week, giving us easy access to just about anything we might need or want. But with Hurricane Irma bearing down on Florida, major retailers like Walmart have entire teams working to keep vital items on store shelves when customers need them most.
Really an all-hands-on-deck situation. Folks from all across the business who are in preparation for a potential storm to make landfall.
Walmart is still working to reopen stores impacted by Hurricane Harvey in Texas, while now shifting their focus to Florida and making sure customers here are prepared.
We are communicating with store management teams to determine what are those products that we need and how quickly can we get trucks to those stores to keep those shelves stocked. So we've currently mobilized 800 truckloads of water from around the country to be sent into the Florida region to help meet this growing demand.
The safety of their own associates has to be factored in too.
If there's a mandatory evacuation in order, we close those facilities with enough time for our associates and customers to get to secure shelter for them and their families.
And back out here live at the Walmart in South Tampa. Walmart tells me they're going to keep all of their stores here in Florida open as long as they safely can or until a mandatory evacuation order is issued. And one of the things that companies all across Tampa and the Tampa Bay area are really having to think about, in Florida for that matter, they've got employees. Many of their employees live in the same areas where their stores might be located. And so they have to think an area like the Inner Bay Peninsula, in a worst case scenario, this area could be underwater here. And they have to give their employees enough time to evacuate, possibly get out of town. They don't want them getting stuck on the interstates. So still a long time before we know what we're going to be dealing with here in Tampa and the Tampa Bay area, but certainly something that companies are thinking about right now. Reporting live in South Tampa, Bo Zimmer, 10 News.
41,600. That's how many sandbags people in Tampa and St. Pete picked up today. Many of those in just a 4-hour period. So that proves people are definitely getting prepared. Now, people also lined up for blocks in St. Pete this afternoon to get theirs. These were being handed out near the Mangrove Bay Golf Course, one of 6 locations around the city where you can pick them up. People we talked with say they're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Hopefully we don't have to use it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Have to see what happened to Harvey. Oh my goodness.
Now, if you want to know where to pick up sandbags, you can find a list of the distribution locations on our website. That's WTSP.com and on our free 10 News app.
We want to make sure you're prepared in case our area is hit by Hurricane Irma, and we're not just talking about a hurricane kit.
Yeah, that's right. Night Center reporter Josh Sidorowicz found some helpful and truly creative ways that you can get your home ready that we're pretty sure you have probably never thought of.
If the power goes out, keeping your food cold, that is going to become a high priority. Consider an alternative to the refrigerator, especially if you need the space. Try your washing machine. It's got a lid. You can fill it with ice, and you don't have to worry about what happens once the ice starts to melt. These things are built to drain. And for those important documents, absolutely put what you can in these waterproof, airtight, plastic, resealable bags. But if you're looking for an added layer of security, And if you don't have enough of those watertight bins lying around either, you can use something bigger, built in, and something just as waterproof. Your dishwasher. Just make sure you empty it out first. If you're looking for light, instead of buying those expensive lanterns, why not use what you've already been stocking up on? Take a flashlight and tape it to the bottom of a water bottle to illuminate the room. For a bigger glow, you could try a bigger jug or even a bigger light. And there's some measures you can take to keep water from seeping into your home, like placing rolled up towels along windowsills. And to minimize water from damaging the bottom of your furniture, these disposable aluminum cooking tins can be helpful too. Just slide them right under the legs. And no, of course, this isn't going to do a whole lot of anything in the event of major flooding, but it's at least a start, and hopefully these hacks are a start to getting you better prepared for Hurricane Irma. I'm Josh Sidorowicz, 10 News.
Some really good information
Yeah.
or useful information to help you prepare, but Bobby, it's important to point out that we really don't know what effect the storm will have on this area.
We just don't know. It's all really going to come down until that turn, and that's not really going to happen until Saturday night, really. But we'll keep following the models, and hopefully the models will get a little bit more consensus as to where they think it's going to go. Let me show you where it's going right now. In fact, I took and started measuring this. So you can measure it actually probably a little bit wider than what I did, but that's over 300 miles wide. That's just short of the distance from Jacksonville to Miami. So how big is this? I mean, obviously that's covering the state of Florida. The width of Florida is probably about like that. So it's a big, big storm. It's bearing down now on the Leeward Islands, St. Thomas, St. Martin, Anguilla. It looks like it is trying to go to the north, and that is actually really good news. The movement now is west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. Again, the further north it can go, the better chance it has to recurve, although that's not looking exactly likely at this point. Wind gusts to 225 miles per hour. Here's that track one more time, and you can see a little bit of a jog to the north and the west, and then perhaps another one back towards the west, and then it starts that curve as we get into Saturday night and into Sunday night. But look at that. I mean, that's crossing over the Keys and headed towards the Marco Island area, it looks like, by Sunday night into early Monday morning. If this happens, and it follows the European model, which the latest run at least comes right up and along and east of I-75, that's basically everybody in the peninsula of Florida would see hurricane force winds, at least 74 mile per hour winds. It's just too far out in time to exactly say. So when I'm on Facebook Live and you're asking, what about Bartow? What about this place? It's just too soon to tell. But that's what we want to do. We want to keep showing you these model runs. We want to keep showing you as things develop. As far as watches and warnings, hurricane watches now for most of Cuba, the central and eastern half of the Cuba, and the southern Bahamas, hurricane warnings now for the Dominican Republic on the north end there. Now, you can see the forecast models, and there is some good news in this for us. Look at this spread by the time we get towards Saturday night. That's a lot of spread. And then a lot of the models are central or eastern part of the state. Eastern would be much better for us. We don't wish this on anybody, but it is certainly a much better forecast for the western part of the state if that is the case. Again, it's just too far out, but you see it does go up and kind of stall out and fall apart over the eastern half of the United States. Now, let's compare the European model and the GFS model. Big, big shift in the GFS this last run. I don't necessarily buy that. We'll have to wait a while. The European, look at that. It takes it over Cuba for a while, good 24 hours, and then comes out and says it's a big storm. If it spends 24 hours in those mountains, it's not going to be that big of a storm, at least not that powerful. It will still be strong, and we still may have to deal with it, but that takes it right up the spine of Florida, while the GFS is almost taken into Cape Fear, Wilmington, North Carolina. So a lot can change. As far as chances for storms, chances for hurricane force winds, it's up to 17% for Miami, 5% for Tampa. That will change, of course, as we get going over the next couple of days, and it starts to get a little bit closer. Hopefully it goes down, but it's going to go up before it goes down for sure. Okay, hey, we have actual weather outside. It's 81 degrees. It's pretty quiet, though, as far as the radar is concerned. Over the next couple of days, we're going to see some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, I got 40%. We go 40 to 50% because there could be some storms midday, right around lunchtime, a little bit more, and then we'll have a few scattered in the afternoon. 40% on Thursday. Sunday, Monday time frame. That's when we may be dealing with Irma. Stay abreast of the weather situation. Follow us on our Facebook pages, Bobby Desk and Weather is Mine, and relax. Let's not get too excited about this at the time. We definitely have to be tracking it. I know a lot of you are out preparing for it. That's good, but let's just wait and see exactly where it wants to go.
As a mother, it is hard to imagine young kids taking drugs. But unfortunately, it happens too often. Nearly 800 parents in this country in just 1 year lost a child to a drug overdose.